Good morning. Merry Christmas. Getting myself live on Instagram. Let's see, connect. Go live. All right, I'm live. Cool. Merry Christmas, everybody. Nobody's watching yet. I'm going to look over on Instagram, see if anybody's tuning in yet. I'm going to kind of flow right into it because you know what? I got about 4 hours left of work and I am peacing out for the next Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, 5 days, which let me tell you, your girl does not know how to do that. I have a very hard time not working, whether it's working on myself, working on my business, working with my clients. In fact, last night, this is a true story. I told you I'm getting right into it today. Last night, I was laying in bed at 8 o'clock, and the anxiety I was feeling over, I don't even know what. Like, what was I anxious about? I was thinking about 5 million things that didn't matter. I have not slept well Sunday or Monday night for no other reason other than I'm anxious about what? What am I anxious about? So, you know what? I thought that today it would be a really good idea to talk about some of the mistakes I have made in the past and how I am rechanging or reshaping the way I approach the holidays as we're ending the holiday season. Because I titled the episode, December isn't the month for discipline. So just chill, because it can feel like you are losing control of all of the things that you normally do when it feels like there's something every single week. There's so many things that are taking you out of your routine. And I have let this steal my joy for so long. And I have recognized it even this year that I find it stealing my joy in really the only week of the month that actually really matters to me, because I'm not really big about the whole month of December being about tons of celebrations and all that kinds of stuff. But the week of Christmas is a little bit different. I went to church on Sunday and I walked into church feeling like I had to be there early because I had so much to do that day. But when I got there, it was like everything slowed down. And it was like, this is what this whole week is about. And I burst out in tears as I was listening to the worship music, because I'm like, Cheryl, life is so much bigger than all of the little things you are sweating on a regular basis. And I know how many of you guys are feeling that way. Like you're feeling like you're dropping the ball, whether it's on your own goals, maybe you have body composition goals, maybe you are working on developing a healthier relationship with food, eating healthier, dialing in your macros, whatever it is you're doing. And you just feel this like constant state of things are just getting in the way. And it leaves you feeling one of two ways. Like you're either, okay, like this is almost over. I'm just going to get through it and then get back on track in the new year. Or you're literally suffering every single day, just trying to hold on to that control and never actually allowing yourself to just be in the moment. And I've made a lot of mistakes in the past that I think would be very helpful for a lot of you guys to hear. As somebody who does teach nutrition, I also have struggled with my nutrition. When I was 19 years old, I developed anorexia. I had no idea what was going on. I had no idea why I didn't want to eat. All I know is I didn't want to eat, and I was obsessed with being smaller. And it wasn't for vanity reasons. It was a control mechanism. And it's just knowing that my relationship, I'm 40 years old this year. I just turned 40. And looking back at how many seasons of Christmas I have missed out on being able to be present because there was always things going on. And even as my life has progressed from, being 19 years old and anorexic to being a full-time CrossFit Games athlete, to being a CrossFit Games athlete and a business owner, and learning how all of those things have somehow stolen me from the true purpose of this week. And, and that's why I know I'm talking specific to this week, because for me, it really is about this week. It's not so much about the whole month, but for some of you guys, it might've been about the whole month. And you maybe feel like, you've dropped the ball and you're feeling that freaking like your whole life is just spiraling. And maybe now you're in that place of panic because there's still gifts to be gotten. There's still gifts to be gotten. You're still trying to finish up the Christmas shopping. You're still trying to figure out planning food. You're trying to stay on track with your own food. You're getting cravings and you're seeing all these cookies and you want to be able to enjoy them, but you also feel stressed about it. There's so many things going through your head, right? So I want to take today and give you some personal perspective on things that I have struggled with and how I'm working to overcome them, my current struggles, and hopefully help you enjoy whatever is left of this year, because we've got about 8 days left. And it was funny because as I was reflecting on the month of December and really what percentage of the year the month of December actually makes up, did you know that the month of December makes up 8% of your entire year? So even if you checked out all completely the month of December on anything that you were doing, working on yourself, you would still have a 90% compliant or 90+% compliance if you were doing all of the things every other month of the year. Now, I know that's also not realistic because obviously summer comes and there might be some celebrations then. There might be less structure then, but it just goes to show you that even if you had a month in the summer and a month in the winter, you're still at an 80% compliance, which guess what? That's sustainable. That's sustainable results, So I want you to really start by focusing on the fact that if you think you sabotage yourself, that's how you're sabotaging yourself. Enjoying yourself isn't really sabotage. In fact, not enjoying yourself is more sabotage, because you'll spend years and years and years feeling resentful every single year. And that's how I felt myself this week. It's like, I just wanted this to be over. I just wanted to get to where I have to be. I have to travel today. I just want to be there. I just want to get there. I want to be done. I just want to get over with. And it's going to be over. And then guess what? You're going to spend the next, 3 months being like, oh, Christmas is so far away. And then before you know it, it's like Christmas is here again and another year passes you by. So my goal today is that you feel like you have a chill pill. I'm giving you a little chill pill. I'm giving you a little bit of a break, a little bit of an opportunity for you to go into this week and feel really good. Because a lot of you guys think that you're just doing whatever you want, but you're still judging yourself here, even though you think you're doing it. I want you to remove the judgment today. All right. So I'm going to pull up my notes. So I want to make sure I cover everything. All right. So I'm going to talk about 3 main focus points today. And I'm going to keep this one. I'm going to try and keep it short today. Because these are the 3 biggest things that I find that have stolen my presence and I think steal the most of your presence. And the first one I'm going to start with has to do with my relationship with food and the fact that there was many years I spent where I didn't enjoy any of the holiday food. And then there were many years where I was literally binging on holiday desserts, and neither of which left me feeling very good. I'll be honest. I probably felt a little bit better with the restrictive side of things because there wasn't a lingering feeling of punishment afterwards. And so I'm going to talk more about the binge episodes. I can remember so many times where I have 2 distinct memories come into my brain of not being able to control myself around Christmas desserts. One of them being I baked a bunch of Christmas cookies and I had a bunch of leftovers after the trays. And rather than getting rid of them, I was like, I'm just going to put them in my freezer and I'll have one if I want it. And I really didn't eat cookies. I was eating paleo at the time. But night after Christmas, I was like, maybe I'll have one. And before I knew it, it was like they tasted so good. So I wanted more of them. And before I knew it, like I think I ate 3 dozen cookies and felt guilty. And rather than stopping, I was like eating other random things, like a jar of almond butter. I literally remember I probably packed in 5,000 calories minimum. And I laid in my bed and felt like crap and was like, what did I just do? I have no idea why I just did that. And the other memory I have is being at my aunt's house and they had a bunch of really fancy desserts and I was just going to have one. And then the next thing I knew, my plate was full with 5 or 6 different desserts and I was going back for multiple desserts. And it was like I just couldn't stop eating. It was like the food tasted so good. And here's why this truly happened. And this is my first tip for you guys, my first mistake. I was spending so much of my time in my year restricting myself, being on a diet, whether it was the paleo diet, tracking my zone blocks at that time. I wasn't tracking my calories or my macros. Being so disciplined with my food all of the time, not allowing myself to have that stuff, that when I got into that place, 1, I was deprived. I was freaking hungry. And 2, I was telling myself that I shouldn't be having these things. This is my one opportunity to have these foods. And then I'm not having them again for a very, very, very long time, if ever, because I don't ever want to feel that out of control again. It was like, I've lost control. Let's just get out of control and be out of control. But when I'm done, I'm going to eat until I no longer want to eat because I'm not doing this ever again. It was like the floodgates had opened and there was no way that I could stop it. And I was committing to that was the last time. And in order for that to be the last time, I had to make myself so full that I would not want any more. Like I had to make it to where I could no longer stomach any more food. And that was such a miserable place to be in. And I would do that. And then I would restrict myself and another opportunity would come up and it would happen again. But Christmas tended to be where I find that it would happen more often. So I was always trying to control the binge. I was like, you have got to stop this. This is unhealthy. You are over the top. Like this is disgusting. And the issue wasn't the binge. It was the lack of flexibility in my diet and actually practicing discipline with flexibility. So I was spending so much of my time being so disciplined with my diet, but I had no discipline with those foods because I never allowed myself to have them. And I didn't feel comfortable stopping. I couldn't control it. I had to do two things. I had to start eating more on a regular basis. I had to actually eat more calories. And I had to also allow myself the opportunity to have those things in moderation more frequently. And that wasn't easy in the beginning. In fact, it took me a long time to be comfortable with it. And I still have feelings of like, when I'm in those situations, I could easily eat more. I could easily keep eating that food. Like when I had Christmas cookies last year, and I was like, this is the first time I'm actually having some of my Christmas cookies in over 10 years because of that situation. And I felt every time that I had one that I'm like, I could have another one. I could have another one. But I also reminded myself, I can also have another one tomorrow. And I actually practiced sitting with those feelings and allowing myself to know what it felt like to not just keep going and not just keep binging. And that's what really got me through. And that's where I'm at today. And now I have a relationship with food where I feel like I don't have to worry about binging anymore. In fact, I think that if anything, it's I don't really even crave those foods. I have to remind myself that maybe sometimes it's good to experiment with a couple of things here and there. So if you feel like you're stuck in that situation, you don't have to be. You can truly change. It normally comes down to actually allowing yourself to have more food and have more flexibility. Stop looking at those moments like failure and looking at them as an opportunity to learn. Okay. That was my first mistake. Second mistake, and this is still a work in progress for me. Relaxing around food and training always felt like I was losing my identity. Like suddenly I was not this girl that was like disciplined and able to do these things. And I was losing who I was. And it would feel like I was failing at whatever. And even when I would get comments from other people about like, oh, you're not like doing your diet, like it would make me feel somehow like I was losing my identity as somebody. And the reality is like, that truly isn't the case. Like I am a structured, disciplined person. As I mentioned, the month of December is, 8% of the year. The week of Christmas is, well, I'm not even going to do the math right now, but it's a very much more small, a much smaller piece of it. So the day of Christmas is, I was letting that feeling of like relaxing around food and training make me feel guilty. Like it was making me feel like I was like losing control or losing progress. And it really wasn't. It never has been. You don't make that much progress in a day or a week. You're not going to lose that much progress in a day or a week. And I think that by trying so hard to hold on to that, it actually created more anxiety and stress. And the reality is like the situation was going to be there no matter how I thought about it. So, I mean, you have to go through the holidays. You have to maybe miss a couple of workouts. maybe you lose a little bit of sleep, maybe things aren't regulated the way that they normally are, you're going to feel a certain way. So you can embrace the feelings and like allow yourself to enjoy it, or you can resist them. And the resistance is going to likely bring more feelings of anxiety and stress. And this is something that I am personally right now still dealing with, because I feel like right now it's not just my training or my nutrition, because I am in a pretty, place where I kind of feel like I'm not going to lose that much progress, but it's like, okay, like the business stuff and this and that, and going into the new year. And I have so many things that I want to do. And I'm like, okay, like all of that stuff can wait. Like if you trying to get all of these things done now isn't going to help you relax. Why not just relax and enjoy it a little bit? Like reflecting on the fact that like you're not going to lose that much progress. So if you're feeling like you're quitting because you are enjoying, maybe you're not tracking your food right now. Maybe you're not focusing on protein. Maybe you're traveling, like maybe that's all stuff that's going on right now, and that's not allowing you to really relax a little bit. Maybe it's time to just relax and actually reflect on, like, do I need to practice being this way more in the other times of my life, not in a time of my life when I'm really trying to be present with my family? Because all of that is just creating more stress response. And most of the time, you need that relaxation. This is a great time of year for you to actually take a step back and reflect. And it's not about the new year, new me opportunities. It's knowing that, like, we are closing up a year. We are in a place where it's kind of a weird time in most people's lives, because you do have a lot of family coming and going. You have more social things. It's a great time to be present with your family and know that you're not going to lose progress. But you have to be looking at, okay, where are you at on your journey? And like looking at like the next 12 to 24 weeks. It's not this week matters. It's the next 12 to 24 weeks that matter, and knowing what your plan is going to be then. So take some time this week and relax, and don't feel like you're failing, because all of those years that I spent stressing about, I mean, let's just be honest, like packing my food to go on vacation and trying to figure out what gym I was going to go to, or bringing equipment with me, or working out on 4 hours of sleep, all of it, like for what purpose? To feel like I had some sense of control and normalcy. Like, wouldn't I have felt so much better just like maybe relaxing with a cup of coffee in the morning for once? Like not having to spend so much time packing all of my food and doing all of those things. Like, so if that's you and you feel like you just can't relax, like you don't need to stay that uptight. And if you are relaxing and you feel guilty, girl, I'm going to learn from you. Like, you are teaching me. I want people to relax and enjoy themselves right now, because that's what you should be doing. Okay. And I actually talked to one of my clients about this, because she has been taking the month of December to relax a little bit. And I'm like, that's exactly what you should be doing. Like, you're getting ready to go into a season where you're going to be pushing to be one of the top level athletes in the world. Like, let's give yourself a little bit of a reset. You pushed hard, like, and that's what I need. And I'm leaning in on you guys that are like feeling like you're doing that. But I want you to do it with complete permission, not guilt or feeling like you're having to make up for it or any of that stuff. All right. And then the last thing that I'm going to talk about here is boundaries. So while I'm talking about all of the things that I needed to do differently to relax a little bit and just embrace the moment, I think it's really important for you to also embrace the need for boundaries and trusting what you need for you at this time. Okay. So, like, example, being obsessive with training around Christmas is probably not necessary, right? Like I was mentioning, relax a little bit. But if you know that you feel better after you get up and you get a quick workout in and you're going to feel more present that day, there is nothing wrong with you going to getting a workout in. Like, it's not impacting anybody else. Now, if you're missing Christmas dinner because you're going to the gym and that's influencing your relationships, that's a different story. Okay. So, like, you're not going to like, but you getting up and doing something for yourself, going for a walk, even, that's not you being obsessive. That's you setting boundaries. And it also comes down to that with food too. Like, if you are traveling and, like, so for me, I'm traveling, maybe I don't want to spend a bunch of time packing up all of my food and having everything with me, but maybe I do want to stop at the grocery store and grab a couple of things to have for myself for breakfast. And maybe having some things at the holiday meal that I want to be able to enjoy because it's my holiday too. Like, there's nothing wrong with you doing that, because you know what? Like, if you're somebody like me and you spend the majority of your time, following a very, you're very routine with your nutrition, and these opportunities are your little breaks from your norm, like, you should be able to pick what you want. Just like you pick your Christmas gifts, you should be able to pick your Christmas food. So it means it's okay to have some boundaries and knowing what you want to have. I think it's also okay for you to not have to explain yourself. If you're visiting with family or family's coming into town and they haven't seen you in a while, when there might be questions about what you're doing, to not feel like you need to explain yourself. You're not on a diet. So if you're traveling and you're keeping track of your food and somebody's like, what are you doing? There's nothing wrong with that. Like, there's nothing wrong with you trying to stay dialed in. Like, maybe you are like, man, this girl's got to make sure she's getting enough food in. Like, I don't want to be under eating. And I don't normally eat these foods, so I have to kind of keep tabs on things. Like, there's nothing wrong with that. And I think it's important for you to do that, because in the past, I have found myself feeling guilty for that, even though I would do it, and then worrying about what other people were thinking when I was doing it. And you might be that person, but you also might be the person that avoids doing it because you don't want people to look at you like, what are you doing? Why are you being so obsessive? Like, there's nothing wrong with that. Like, you, again, do not need to explain yourself. In fact, the more you try and explain yourself, the more you're going to lose, because nobody is going to understand why those things matter to you unless they're doing them. If you find somebody at your table that's doing the same thing as you, you're in good company. But most of the time, that's not going to happen. So I am going to leave this episode with a final reminder for you guys, because we are going into the week of Christmas. And as I said, we are in the week of Christmas. It's 23rd, Cheryl. It's down to the wire. You don't have to choose, right? And I'm telling you that because we are all going to approach after Christmas in a different way. And it might be you saying, man, next year I want to do things differently. And that was me. And that's been me this year. I reflected on the fact that earlier this year, I said, I would really like to do Christmas differently. And guess what? It's been the same freaking thing. It's been the same issues that I've been dealing with for the last few years. It's feeling stressed about taking time off from work, feeling stressed about the food, feeling stressed about the training. And I'm trying to relieve the noise. That's why I'm really trying to unplug after today and allow myself, my central nervous system, my brain, my body, to just be present with the family. So you don't have to choose between Christmas and your goals. Your goals are to be happy, to be healthy, to find joy. And not enjoying a part of the time that you want to enjoy is actually stealing you from the goals you have for yourself. The real goal is a long-term plan. And that means that it has to fit, including time with friends, family, and enjoying yourself. You are meant to enjoy the body you've built, not build a life that's constantly trying to control it. So I put that down. Let me read what I actually wrote. Okay. The real goal is a long-term plan, one that includes enjoying time with family and friends in the body you've built, not a life built around constantly trying to control it. And that is the truth. Okay. A lot of us spend so much time worrying about trying to control our body rather than trying to be present with our family, or we're spending entirely too much time avoiding dealing with our body. And either way, it should not be this obsessive thing. This week does not need to be the week that you start dialing things in. It's not the time that you need more discipline. It's the time where you honestly should have a smile on your face, even in all of the freaking chaos, in all of the traffic, in all of the long lines in the stores, and allow yourself to just be happy, be present, be with family, be with friends. So that's what I got for you guys today. I hope you guys all have an amazing Christmas. I am a little bit, you baked about 50 cookies. I said, that's awesome, Jeffrey. Good work, man. I hope you guys all have an amazing Christmas. I'm looking forward to some things in the new year. I've got a seminar coming up in January that was actually meant to be last weekend, but family and Christmas holiday stuff got in the way. So I actually decided to pull the plug and postpone it. So I will be giving more details on that next week, but I'm going to be unplugging a little bit. So if you don't hear from me, that's why. I will try and still do a little post daily on social media. We'll see. I might just take a break altogether. We'll see. So I hope you guys all have an amazing Christmas.